Today we're going to make some more kombucha. I use a continuous pot, and I make about 2 litres at a time and help myself occasionally during the week to a glass or two, and then I just top it up with some more tea and water. So what I've got here is some other starter fluid from the last batch of kombucha I made, and I've got some extra cold water, and I like to use white tea. It's quite a nice subtle tea, and green tea with one oolong, which gives it a little bit of a punch. But the white tea and the green tea are quite mild teas, and I believe they've got a little bit less chemicals in them that can affect you. I got 2 tablespoons of sugar, pure sugar, and a couple of bags of green tea and 1 bag of oolong tea. I'm not going to use white tea today. And these I'm going to put into, it's just started to boil. I'm going to put these into a pot to brew. I'll let them brew for a little while, and then I'll add up to make the brew, and I'll be adding it to this cold water to cool it down quicker, and then I'll be adding cold water up to 2 litres, and when it's at room temperature I'll be putting it in with my SCOBY. My SCOBY's here. Tea's come to a boil and it's brewed, so it's just simmering away here nicely. I'm going to add my sugar and give it a bit of a stir, and I'll stir this until the sugar is dissolved. Once the sugar is dissolved, I'll then strain it into some more cold water. Just strain those tea bags out. I like to use leaf tea, but for this demonstration I'm using tea bags. Doesn't matter which you use, the leaf tea. Okay, there we are. There's our tea, nicely made, and we've got to get that up to 2 litres. My water bottle is plain water. My water is, as far as I'm concerned, perfectly fit. Oh, there's an accident. Accidents do happen. And one good thing about this is that all that extra water has cooled down the tea nice and steady. Now, if I was a purist, I'd reshoot this, but we all recognise that accidents do happen, and I've got a little bit more tea mixture here than I need. And that's perfect. It's not going to be too hot, so it's not going to kill my SCOBY. So here we are. Here's my SCOBY. The SCOBY will go in and sit on top. At the end of 2 weeks there'll be 2 SCOBYs there, and I can share the SCOBY or put in my SCOBY hotel for sharing later on, or if anything happens to my original SCOBYs, and we'll give away, put in the garden, compost. There's lots of things you can do with your SCOBYs. So this will go and sit in the garage, covered with a tea towel so it can breathe, and in about 4 or 5 days you can just take a little bit out at a time and taste it, and when it's to your liking you can then just pour yourself a little glass full and have a swig, and every couple of days just pour some extra tea in, and it just keeps brewing continuously. Unless you want to make some second brew, then you take the whole lot out and you make a second brew with it. Brew it with your favourite fruits. Okay, thank you, and until next time, namaste. Today we're going to second ferment my kombucha. This kombucha is one I made. It's 2 weeks old now, and you can see this beautiful SCOBY on the top with the mother underneath it, and I've got about 2 litres of kombucha ready to be prepared and second fermented. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some blueberries I've picked off my bush. I grow organic blueberries. So there's some I've picked this morning. I'm going to use some sugar, and we're going to make a syrup, a blueberry syrup. So I'll get started on that now. First of all, we need a saucepan, and we need a couple of into that we're going to place our blueberries, and a little bit of water. We can add more water as it's boiling. The idea is to boil this brew up, get the sugar dissolved, and then later on we'll blend the blueberries once they've softened up. Okay, so we're going to do that now. We'll boil that up, and now we'll get our kombucha. To mention earlier, everything's been cleansed with white vinegar, and as I'm going to take my SCOBY, I want to make sure my hands are perfectly clean, and I like to just reach in, grab the SCOBY and put it into a cleansed bowl ready for the next session. So what we've done, we've got a second SCOBY developed on top of the original SCOBY I used, and I'll be putting that into a SCOBY hotel to give to someone later on or to use, and this SCOBY is going to go as my next brew. Okay, now my kombucha. Aside, we don't need that anymore until we're ready to make another batch of. I always like to pour out and just leave enough in the bottom for my next brew. That's my starter fluid, and it's got beautiful mother in it, so we'll give you. And here we have 2 litres of brewed kombucha. Probably add a bit more water to that. Beat it up a bit, smash those blueberries up. this blueberry. You can use any fruit. That's the idea as well as sugary fruit. And you just boil it down, a couple of tablespoons of sugar, and make a syrup. And this syrup is what goes in the bottom of the bottles, and it's mixed with kombucha, and the syrup, the sugar in the syrup actually creates the second ferment in our kombucha. A nice syrup mixture, and I've had these bottles here, getting cleansed. They're just plastic drink bottles. If you use glass, you've got to be careful that when the kombucha ferments, it doesn't build up such a pressure that the glass shatters and breaks. That means every couple of days you've got to go in, you've got to burp the bottles and get rid of the gases. I've never had any burst on me, but it has happened. So if you use plastic, when the gases build up, the plastic swells up and you can just kind of burp them, and they don't tend to explode like glass bottles do. Okay, so into this, pour about 2 tablespoons of syrup for Christmas Day, so it'll be ready in about 3 or 4 days, and then they'll be in the fridge and getting nice and cool for Christmas Day. The sugar is used up, being converted to alcohol, and the gases that are needed for the ferment. So you're not going to get sugar as much as I've done. So you just carefully pour the kombucha into the bottles pretty well up to there we are, and we'll tightly put a lid on that. Number 1. Right, our last bottle. As you see, I've done this before. We just do a little bit out, so I just add a little bit more of my kombucha fluid just to fill the glass up. There's a little bit of mother in this, it won't hurt. And there we are. Lid tightly. And 4 bottles of blueberry kombucha will be fermented and nice and lovely. Enjoyed that demonstration, and till next time.